Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone today? Here we are. We're going to have a record high today for September 6th to get us ready for the record low on Tuesday, about 30 degrees difference for the high. But we just roll on here in Colorado. We just roll with the changes and go our way and we know how to have layers ready to go at a moment's notice. However, don't forget to unscrew your hose from your house so that you don't freeze your pipes up. So welcome. My name is Reverend Nori Rost. I'm the minister here at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, and I'm glad you're here with us as well. If this is your very first time visiting or you're new here and you haven't made yourself known, feel free to give a shout out in the chat. One of our welcome team will privately message you to welcome you. If you feel a little shy about putting that shout out in the chat, you can just type under participants, you can type welcome. Several names will come up and you can privately message one of them to let us know you're here so that we can make sure to properly welcome you and give you some information. I have just a few other announcements. The usual suspects, Tuesdays with Nori, 5:30 every Tuesday. That Zoom link is in our e-letter and on our website. So that's just an informal time to get together to share our joys and concerns and just, kind of reconnect in these crazy times. Religious Exploration has its own Zoom meeting before worship, and that link is also on the website. Oh, bad time to take off my glasses. Okay, let me put them back on. Okay, they were dirty. I want to remind you again to save the date we're going to be doing. We are going forward to do our annual fall auction. It's going to be completely online, going to be beginning October 17th and running for 4 weeks, and donations will be accepted until October 3rd. This is the year. This is the year when you can think creatively about what you want to donate. Could be a breakfast in bed basket that you leave out, that somebody bids on to get at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and you just leave a basket full of hot meal, coffee, juice delivered in a basket at 8 a.m. Could be outside socially distanced events with masks. Physical items as always. Barb, we're counting on you to be knitting some things this year. Don't leave us out. Maybe you could organize a scavenger hunt that 8 people could bid on and do downtown. Be creative and think about it. Be looking for more information from your auction team, but know that it's coming. And actually, the donation deadline is less than a month away. Another great idea: go to a Black-owned business, purchase items for a gift basket, and then put a gift card from that business in there as well. Same thing for women-owned businesses or LGBT-owned businesses, or just progressive-owned businesses like Poor Richards. This is not the time we want to ask them to give us a donation because they're struggling, but we want to purchase things from them that we will then donate for our auction. All Souls has a YouTube channel, so you can check out all of our past sermons from recent weeks anyways there. And that link is also, I believe, in our e-letter and online. Finally, we are soliciting job applicants for a very part-time custodian position, 4 hours a week. Normally it's 10 hours a week, and it'll go back to that once we can use our building regularly, but it's just amazing how grimy a dirty building can get. So this is a 4-hour-a-week position. You can email jobs, JOBS, at asuuc.net for more information about that. And finally, next week, the week you've all been waiting for, the week we've been waiting for all year long, it is our annual In-Gathering and Water Communion Sunday. So we're going to have a Zoom In-Gathering service, a Zoom service like we've been doing and will be doing for the next many, many months. But, and this is the exciting part, I think you're going to like it, we're going to be having an open house at the church from 1 to 2:30. This is a socially distanced, masked open house. And also, it's a way to highlight the enhancement projects done by the Buildings and Ground team over the last year or so. And also, the Great Hall will showcase 7 new banners that a team of creative people have been working on for almost a year, I think. And so you'll have an opportunity to see those. There will be a slideshow talking about all these things on the TV, the big screen, and on the TV in the small hall. And there'll also be a vessel for you to bring your water to pour and contribute to the water communion, and a way for you to write what that water signifies for you. So if it feels safe for you, then we invite you to come next Sunday, the 13th, from 1 to 2:30. We will be keeping an eye on how many people are in the building, and so it may be that you have to wait outside and just stroll through our beautiful gardens for a while. But I don't think it's going to be like a, standing room only, shall I say. But if it feels safe to you, come. There's going to be a goodie bag for every family, and Beth will have things for registered religious exploration kids as well. All right, following the service, will be assigned random break rooms, kind of like a coffee hour. I encourage you to go ahead and join those if you can. It's just a great way to informally chat with one another. It's all random unless you're in the choir or band, and I'll drop you into the choir or band. I don't know why Mark doesn't have Mark the Angel Artist on his name for today. He's definitely an angel. Speaking of Mark, I shared on our Facebook page an amazing article written about our very own Mark Arnest, and who knew that we had such a celebrity in our midst? So I encourage you to go to the Facebook page and read that. It's very comprehensive and very cool. And congratulations, Mark, on all the achievements that you've done and all the joy you bring to us with your music and your angelic ways. All right, let's take a few moments to scroll through the thumbnail prints of people and just greet one another, wave to one another, and just see who all's here. Good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. Carla was mentioning in the chat that the Balloon Fest is this weekend, and it's different than normal. And they had to cancel it today due to winds, but I don't know if they're still going to have the balloon glow tonight. You just have to kind of look in the sky for that, because balloons have been lifting off from various locations around the city to keep it safe. So hi, Alice. It's good to see you there with Jan. Good to see everyone. All right. We gather each week, not because we must, but because we can. We come not in spite of our differences, but to flaunt our diversity. We gather from every socioeconomic stream, race, ethnicity, gender identity, age, ability, method of accessing Zoom. Some of you are on smartphones, some of you are on iPads, some of you are on laptops. And yet here we all are, no matter how we get here. And we find that we're eminently stronger and more fabulous when we can bring all of who we are into this space and be seen and loved. And that is what makes this sacred space. And that is what makes this holy ground. So let's take a moment and breathe in the divinity of this hour, brought here to you by you as I ring the bell.
Our chalice lighting today is from Reverend Scott Taylor. We who long for return, who long for repair, gather again to mend the tender strands of connection between each other, the world, and those parts of ourselves buried deep. We begin once more the work of welcome, of forgiveness, of renewing this weary, worn world. Come, friends, a new day, a new story awaits.
Thank you, Sherry. Good morning, everyone. I'm Beth Green, Director of Religious Exploration. And of course, RE announcements before we get to our story. As Nori mentioned, RE has its own time before service. Next week is our first curriculum day, and the time has changed slightly. We're going to be starting at 9:30 instead of 9:45. The link is the same to join. You can still get that on the website, e-letter, lots of different places. So that'll be from 9:30 to 10:15. Blessing of the backpacks is happening at that open house next Sunday too, on September 13th from 1 to 2:30. my RE table will actually be outside. So if you want to bring your kiddos down to the church, they can get these cool little blessing of the backpack goodie bags. I have Harry Potter backpack charms. Every kid will get an electronic chalice to have with them this year, and also a couple of affirmation cards to get them through their school year. If your kiddo doesn't show up and they're registered, I will mail these out to them, so they'll still be able to receive them if you guys aren't able to make it on Sunday, but I hope to see you. And lastly, we have exciting news. RE has kind of got some space on our new YouTube channel, and our preschool, our pre-K and kindergarten kids will have their own YouTube video to watch every single month. Kathy Matthews is amazing and has just the light in her to pull this off. She's kind of leading this. Her and Heidi, we just recorded our first one, and it should be uploaded by the end of this week. So if you have any preschoolers or kindergartners, please check that out on our YouTube channel. And it's just a 20-minute video that you could do all at once or kind of break it up and allow your younger kids to follow us on the YouTube channel. And please comment if you are visiting our YouTube channel. We're starting with one a month, and if it gains some popularity, we might do a couple more. But yeah, we're going to start with one just to kind of see how it goes. Without further ado, Frederick by Leo Leone. All along the meadow, where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, oh geez, I don't even know that word. I'm not a farm girl. But by the barn, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away and the barn was abandoned. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They worked all day and night, all except Frederick. Frederick, why don't you work? They asked. I do work, said Frederick. I gather sun rays for cold, dark winter days. And when they saw Frederick sitting there staring at the meadow, they said, and now, Frederick? I gather colors, answered Frederick simply, for winter is gray. And once Frederick seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Frederick? They asked reproachfully. But Frederick said, oh no, I am gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and will run out of things to say. The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stone. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats, and they were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Frederick had said about the sun rays and colors and words. What about your supplies, Frederick? They asked. Close your eyes, said Frederick as he climbed on the big stone. Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow? As Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? And how about the colors, Frederick? They asked anxiously. Close your eyes again, Frederick said. And when he told them of blue periwinkles and the red poppies and the yellow wheat and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had painted in their minds. And the words, Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then, as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the four-leafed clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who lived in the sky, 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat, and winter is last with cold little feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more. When Frederick finished, they all applauded. But Frederick, they said, you're a poet. Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, I know it. The end.
I love that book, Beth. Frederick has the heart of an artist. Our reading today comes from Reverend Gretchen Haley. Though you have been warned and given plenty of explanations, reasons to do otherwise, you have persisted to claim a life of joy and justice and to carve out this time for renewal of your own heart. Despite the din demanding your attention, luring you towards fear and cynicism. You persist with gratitude for this day, this life that has been given this chance to begin again. Despite all the forces of fragmentation, the disappointing ways we fail each other, fail ourselves, we must refuse to let grief undo us or to let our dreams get lost along the way. In spite of all the evidence, we keep showing up at the edge of our own longing, and then we keep going, remembering this duty we have to life in a greater sense, this duty we have to each other, our children and their children, this hope that is also a choice we make, this promise we fight for, to persist in kindness, persevere in compassion, and prevail in a life that is bound entirely to love. Come, let us worship together.
Unbelievably, we have made it to September, the September of the century known as 2020. Like many of you on Facebook, I've been seeing memories pop up from a year ago or longer. What a different world. This time last year, I was sitting on a crowded grassy knoll in New Mexico watching Sting in concert. A few weeks before that, I saw Mary Chapin Carpenter at Red Rocks and the Indigo Girls at UCCS, and these crowded, packed spaces, people singing along with the band. For everything, there is a season, the writers of Ecclesiastes writes, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to sow, a time to tear apart. But nowhere in the Hebrew scriptures or in any sacred text did I see this season coming. This September finds us still hunkered down, trying to figure out a new way of living. Earlier, before the service began, Kathleen Brandon was speaking about how D11 is phasing in live classes again and what that will look like, and how there's fear mixed in with familiarity there. We are living in unprecedented times. In the blink of an eye, it seems, our world was turned upside down. Our horizon shrank to the sidewalk outside our front door, and the shutters were drawn on future plans. Has Sherry read in the chalice sighting, we gather longing for return, longing for repair. September makes it clear because it is the time when everything starts anew in many ways. School starts anew, right? Church begins anew. Our ingathering is just next week. And we see in bas relief the stark differences from years past. So it's apt, isn't it, that this month's theme is renewal. September has always been about reconnecting, remembering the community of faith. As I said, next week we'll celebrate our ingathering, our water communion. It will look different, but the commitment is the same. So how do we experience renewal in such uncertain times? How do we renew our spirits? Maybe it's like going online to the Pikes Peak Library District to renew a book we haven't quite gotten through. We're saying we're not done yet. There's still work to be done. There's still relationships to foster, new people to welcome in, cats to say meow. Thank you, Wham. I have to say, I'm so proud of how we've come together as All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. Remained a community of faith, gathered in spirit, if not in person. I'm so proud of how so many of you show up week after week in the Sunday services, and Tuesdays with Nori, and the book club, and the science group, and the men's group. How Dale Kamara shows up to mow the grass at the church, and Becky and Yolanda show up to tend to the grounds. We have found ways to remain connected virtually and in our hearts, but there's more. See, experiencing renewal is active, it's energetic, it's not passive, it's not a holding pattern, it's not the static screen on the television after the national anthem is played, just that holding pattern until the action begins again. Some of you will remember that. Right now, we are co-creating the world. Right now, we are writing and living and enacting this long, strange chapter in the annals of All Souls history. As your minister, I'm always thinking of ways we can re-energize our connection, especially in this time when between Zoom worship and Zoom distance education for our children and Zoom colleges for some of you and Zoom meetings, we're in danger of turning into Zoombies, seeing nothing more than the wallpaper behind our colleague or fellow congregant or friend, our eyes dilating as they grow bigger and bigger, staring at the screen. And then it hit me, an epiphany. Actually, this was a two-part vision. The first part happened in July. I woke early one morning around 6. I am not going to get up at 6 a.m. That's not who I am. So as I was dozing back into slumber, I saw this vision of one of those old truck campers, you know, the kind where the camper just fits on the bed of the truck and extends over the cab of the truck, and that's where a loft where a person would sleep. And I thought to myself, everything's on Zoom now. I can preach and conduct my meetings from anywhere. The next thought was, but I'm not going to buy a camper. And then I fell back to sleep. However, a few weeks ago, I read this blog post about a woman who solo camps in her SUV. It's a whole theme, SUV RVing. And as I read this blog post, I was filled with excitement. I have a Jeep Cherokee. I could do this. I could expand the horizons of All Souls to different locales in our country. I brought this proposal to the board and they voted unanimously to send me forth. So beginning the 1st of October, I'll go out for an exploratory, maybe 15-day trip. I'll preach from wherever I am and share that with you, as well as conduct Tuesdays with Nori and all my various weekly meetings along the way. And then I'll return for the front porch blessing of the animals on October 18th. Once again, our service will be Zoom about the blessing of the animals, but then afterwards I'll be at the church sitting on the front porch to do a front porch blessing of the animals masked for those who want to bring their animals by. And then I'll take off again the 1st of November. I'll be bringing the All Souls Bear Hugs with me with our website and Zoom link on them. And I'll give these out to people I meet and encourage them to become a part of the On the Road All Souls family. I might go to rallies and protests across the country to share with you what's going on there. I'm thinking of spending some time in the Deep South to get a feeling for how liberty and justice for all looks there. I'll be blogging about all of this. I envision this as a time when the horizons of all souls, who we are, who we can reach, how we can change the world expands to well beyond our beloved building, our local communities, and the work that calls to us here. Just think if we got how we can influence the lives and communities of people we have never before met and never would have. Just think if we got acquainted in a personal way with the beauty of our natural resources beyond the boundaries of our gorgeous state. It won't be luxury travel or staying in posh hotels. It will be what is known as dispersed camping, something I'd never heard of until I read this blog, which for the most part will be on the Bureau of Land Management and National Forest lands. If you do dispersed camping there, it's free. So I'll just jet in with my little Jeep Cherokee, find a place and park and camp. Maybe I'll stay in some UU church parking lots across the country. Because here's the thing, beloved. All Souls is not waiting in a holding pattern for life to get back to normal. Nor are we content to exist in a shrinking reality. All Souls is going on the road. In a time when it seems as if our horizon is limited to either speaker or gallery view, we are going on worldview. In the words of my friend and colleague, Gretchen Haley, which Sherry so eloquently read, though you have been warned and given plenty of explanations, reasons to do otherwise, you have persisted to claim a life of joy and justice and to carve out this time for renewal of your own heart. Despite the din demanding your attention, luring you towards fear and cynicism, you persist with gratitude for this day, this life that has been given, this chance to begin again, despite all the forces of fragmentation, the disappointing ways we failed each other, fail ourselves. We must refuse to let grief undo us or to let our dreams get lost along the way. In spite of all the evidence, we keep showing up at the edge of our own longing, and then we keep going, remembering this duty we have to life in a greater sense, this duty we have to each other, our children and their children, this hope that is also a choice we make. Hope is a choice we make, this promise we fight for, to persist in kindness, persevere in compassion, and prevail in a life that is bound entirely to love. This is who we are. This is how we live. At the edge of our own longing, then going forth, living a life larger than our fears and the limitations COVID and this time seeks to place on us. I'll be sending out a letter this week with some more information, including a link to my Amazon wish list for things I still need. But for now, I invite you to join me as we begin once more the work of welcome, of forgiveness, of renewing this weary, worn world, one we did not choose. Let us embrace it with courage and with love. May it be so. Please join me in our sermon response song, The Hours of Religion.
The hours of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. The hours of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love.
Good morning. The words for our offertory come from Brad Gast. No matter what happens, no matter how far you seem to be away from where you want to be, never stop believing that you will somehow make it. Have an unrelenting belief that things will work out, that the long road has a purpose, that the things that you desire may not happen today, but they will happen. Persist and persevere. Your desired path remains possible. As we take up the offering, we are reminded that all we are called to do as individuals and as a church is possible, so long as we never give up and always give our best. Instructions for giving via text, online, or by check will be on the next screen.
Stones to turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to solve, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our closing words as we prepare to extinguish our chalice and go out into the world by Reverend Richard Gilbert. The poignancy of living in these days. In ways transcending my usual semi-awake state of being, the poignancy of living in these days penetrates me, burrows deep into psyche or soul or spirit. Common things of life become uncommon, that the ordinary becomes extraordinary. I awaken myself and bow down in deep gratitude. Please join with me in singing the Extinguishing the Chalice song.
Now, as we leave this place, the chalice dims, but the fire still burns within our hearts. Beyond these doors, now, as we leave this place, memories of each and every face carry us into the world, and we will return, for now we know that something greater than any of us alone is part of us as we leave this place.
Reminder, in just a few moments, you'll be sorted into different, it's kind of like this, the sorting hat, I guess. Maybe I should name the groups, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, Gryffindor. So I hope you stay after service and stick around in the breakout rooms. If not, it's great to have you here today. A big thank you for those who helped participate today in today's service. Mark the Angel, Kathleen, Sherry, Pam, Beth, Robert, the Havermill twins, AB, Kathy, Bill, Matthews, the Matthews twins, Tom O'Connor, the O'Connor twins, Rick Schwartz, Sharon, Joe, and you, because you are the ones who make it all possible and make it all worthwhile. So thanks so much for being here. We'll be going into the breakout rooms in just a minute, but first let's enjoy the postlude that Sharon has prepared. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon. And now we're going to go into the breakout rooms. Hope to see some of you Tuesdays with Nori. Next week, water communion and gathering is going to be a big day on Zoom and live in person. Hope to see you there. Love you guys.